So we've done a bit of comparing for the different states in Australia in regards to the doctor's pay, how it differs across, say, Victoria versus New South Wales versus Queensland versus WA and all the other states. It's so interesting to compare the difference between each state, and there's a massive focus, especially from the resource that I'm using today, on the fact that New South Wales seems just a little bit more shortchanged than the rest of Australia. Let's dive into it, and I have to give a big shout out to this resource that was produced by one of the emergency registrars in New South Wales, and they are witnessing firsthand all these doctors who are leaving New South Wales for the other states in regards to better working conditions, better pay, and everything like that. So let's dive in. I'll share the resource in the link if you wanted to play around with it. It's a really simple tool. Go in, check it out. In this video, I'm going to be going through two different types of jobs: the first year doctor, then intern, how it compares across all the different states, and also your first year being a registrar as well. So let's dive in. I'm keen to check it out. When you're looking for a job and deciding which state should I live in, where can I go, can I even afford to live in this state with the wage that I'm receiving? Let's dive in and check it out. So this is the website that we're using. It's titled Australian Junior Doctor Wages. The website URL is there in the description. So essentially the main thing is that they're saying that New South Wales doctors in training have the worst pay and conditions in the country, and that's why they're leaving our hospitals. If you go down, it tells us a bit of information about why that's happening and what's going on, and essentially invites you as well to join the 3,000 other doctors who have already signed this letter, and they want to ask New South Wales government to fix the staffing crisis and improve the pay rate and pay conditions for New South Wales. It also invites you to join the AMSOF, which is the Australian Salaried Medical Officers Federation. It's essentially a union that focuses on the financial well-being of doctors. So I'll link that in the description as well if you want to check it out. But let's go back to this. Let's focus on the first year doctors in New South Wales. We'll go through state by state and slowly reveal how they compare to New South Wales. We'll focus on New South Wales first, and just to give a baseline, okay? Let's focus on PGY1, which is your first year as a doctor. In New South Wales, you can see there $38.33 per hour. The base salary, it's the only state that has a base salary in the 70,000s, which I know comparing to other different jobs is definitely a good wage, but when you compare it to other jobs in the same profession in different states, then there's a massive difference. So the base salary for interns in New South Wales is $76,009. They get 11% for super. They have 5 weeks of annual leave. They don't get any professional development allowance. I know if you've seen my payslip videos before, you see that on the payslip we have medical education allowance. That's this portion. So New South Wales actually don't allocate any expenses to their doctors there. You don't get any time off to have study leave. You only get 10 days of sick leave per year. And this is interesting, a salary sacrificing tax. So if you remember my old payslip videos, I'll link some in the description if you wanted to check those out. They have some portions of those that are salary packaged. So salary packaging, just explained quite quickly, is pre-tax money that I get to spend that is not taxed. And there's a certain portion of my income that I can do that with. But yeah, there's no tax or anything that I have to do in order to benefit from that. I just, as a doctor, as a public healthcare worker, am allowed to salary sacrifice. All I have to do is pay the salary sacrificing company to allow me to do that and to sort out all the nitty-gritty paperwork, etc. But by no means is there a tax that I have to pay to the government because I get to salary sacrifice. It is honestly, it's a benefit from the government for me to do that. So why would they tax me for being able to do that? Anyways, New South Wales is actually the only state that has a salary sacrificing tax, which is very interesting. And it's a whopping tax of 50%. The total benefit, so essentially down here, so this total benefit actually incorporates super, your professional development allowance, your study leave, annual leave and sick leave, and the salary sacrificing arrangement. And yeah, it has a comparison to different states as well. So There you go. That's the baseline. The total benefit for New South Wales is $96,734. Let's go ahead and compare it to the other states and see how they all compare. So just having a look at New South Wales compared to the others, you can see that it's the only one in the 30s for, hourly rate. The next highest is WA, which is $40 per hour. Then it is $41. Victoria is actually pretty good, $42 an hour, but Queensland actually pay their doctors the most for being your first year as a doctor. So $45.46 per hour. They also give the most super at 12.75%. And yeah, the base salary is actually $90,141. That is a pretty big difference compared to the New South Wales interns, which is only $76,000. So we also have some annual leave that's allocated. New South Wales gets 5 weeks of annual leave, which is good, and that's pretty comparable to the other states. Interestingly, Queensland actually don't give any allowance for professional development, but I guess you can sort of, excuse that given that they pay their doctors almost $7 more per hour compared to New South Wales and have a much larger base salary because of that. So it's only New South Wales, Queensland, and Tasmania that don't have any professional development allowance, which is pretty interesting. In terms of study leave days, Northern Territory, ACT, Victoria, and WA all get study leave days, but also the same states that don't have professional development allowance also don't give study leave days. Interesting. There's a varying amount of difference between the sick leave days between the other states. New South Wales is at the bottom. So New South Wales, Queensland, and WA all get 10 days of sick leave, and you can actually have up to 28 days of sick leave per year if you work in Victoria, which is pretty interesting. As you can see, New South Wales is the only one that does a salary sacrificing tax, which is super interesting. None of these other states actually do that, which I think is, probably more appropriate. So taking into account all this, we summarize this by the total benefit. New South Wales is the only one which has a benefit under $100,000. And you can actually see the massive difference between the comparison between different states and New South Wales. I mean, look at all these, like 53.8% difference between, Victoria and New South Wales. We have like a 47.6% difference between Queensland and New South Wales. The difference is just massive. So as you can see in the rest of this table, it has some differences explained with the percentage difference between New South Wales and other states in regards to the total benefit, and then also the total benefit adjusted for the cost of living. And yeah, it's just pretty staggering that there's a massive difference between New South Wales and the other states. If you compare like the other states, I mean, like they're all pretty similar-ish. I mean, maybe there's some stark differences between like Queensland and Tas, not giving professional development allowance or study leave, but in the big scheme of things, the rates are all in the same figures, maybe 5 or 10K difference, whereas the difference between New South Wales and the others is all about $20,000. So it's a pretty big shift, to be honest. There's a bit of a key down here, so just this bit down here which is important to highlight. So assuming a marginal tax rate of 37% and a maximum salary sacrificing arrangement of $11,660, that sort of takes into account your meals and entertainment, which is about $2,600, and the living expenses, which is about $9,000 something. So all public health employees can salary sacrifice, and yeah, you get about $11,660 that you can benefit from for your salary. Yeah, as you can see, this benefit is provided by the federal government, but the New South Wales government pockets 50% of this rebate. So it's pretty staggering that New South Wales actually takes half of this, given that it's a benefit from the government. And it's like, well, what's the point of getting this benefit if you're just going to give half to the state that you work for? Anyways, that's the first year as a doctor, and you can see how this is like just nicely summarized here, comparing all the states to New South Wales. and it's not meant to be a dig at New South Wales, but just a general information gathering scheme. So, but it's just interesting to compare the raw data, the figures that is actually out there. And, you know, I guess for doctors working in New South Wales, it's a massive thing, what we need to change. Essentially just to compare, you want comparable rates to the rest of Australia. And if doctors are gonna leave the state to work for other different states because the benefits are just better and the working conditions are better and the pay rate's better, etc. I mean, maybe that's something that needs to change. Let's go ahead and compare Registrar Year 1 with all the other states. So we'll go ahead and just focus on New South Wales first. So New South Wales, the registrar rate is $55.97 per hour, and you've got an annual base salary of $110,986. You still get 11% for super, you get 5 weeks of annual leave. Still, even as a registrar, you don't get any professional development leave. You actually do get study leave this time as a registrar, 7 days. You also get 10 days of sick leave, which I think was the same for an intern. Also, the salary sacrificing tax is the same. You've got a total benefit of $143,244. And yeah, then we've got it adjusted for the cost of living. But let's go ahead and compare that to all the other states for Registrar Year 1 and see how that compares. So as you can see here, New South Wales sits at $55.97 per hour. Looking at that, it's actually, and it's not actually the worst pay compared to others. WA, well, we've got a little asterisk here. This says based on the 23-24 financial year award, pending negotiating for the 24-25 financial year. So we can check after if that's a bit different. I guess just from this table, $55.11 per hour is the lowest for WA. And then, yeah, New South Wales, $55.97. And that's the only ones on $55. So I guess it's not dissimilar to others though, like Vic, which is only like $1 more, but then you've got some big differences in Queensland. Queensland seem to pay their doctors very well, $65.35 per hour. And also they give more super and still more leave, as well as Northern Territory, which also has 7 weeks of annual leave. Still, which is very interesting, especially for registrars who are often studying, doing courses, doing exams, all that stuff, they need money to be able to pay for that. New South Wales still gives no money allocated to professional development. So for study leave, New South Wales gives study leave as well as all the other states now as a Registrar Year 1, but notably it's the least amount of days that are given. So 7 days, and then the next highest is 9 days for South Australia, 10 days for Northern Territory, and you've got the others to compare to as well. For sick leave, still New South Wales, Queensland and WA have the lowest amount of sick leave, 10 days per year. Again, with the salary sacrificing tax, 50% goes to the New South Wales state government. No tax is given for salary sacrificing for the other states, which is certainly very interesting. You can see the total benefits there. And I mean, still, the closest is South Australia, which only has a 9.6% increase in the total benefit difference compared to New South Wales. But I mean, if you just look at the largest difference, it's Victoria, which has about $182,776 is the total benefit from all this sort of stuff. And yeah, that's almost 55.6% increase when it's adjusted for cost of living compared to New South Wales for the Registrar Year 1. And yeah, we've got that same information there as well. So, and certainly very interesting to compare New South Wales to the rest of the states in regards to being a first year reg and how much you earn and how much you save and what you get allocated for. And, do you get study leave? Do you get like education allowance? How much annual leave do you get? All this sort of stuff. So I think it's pretty interesting to compare. You can see that there's almost quite a staggering difference between some states and New South Wales. The other states, they're not like completely, different. And some states are more beneficial for the doctors than others, but just seeing the difference across the board is pretty interesting. You'd think it might be more uniform, but I guess each state has their own peculiarities and differences. So yeah, that's just a real basic thing. You can see here, you've got all these other positions to compare to, all the different years of being a registrar, being a resident, and being a senior registrar as well. So you can play around with this. You can see, the different states as well. And if you want to do a comparison between all the states or just focus on one, you can do that as well. So link in the description for all this. And if you are in New South Wales, then I guess this is a bit of an eye-opener for you to compare between your state and all the other states around the country. So have a think about it, have a play around with this website. Very much appreciate the person who allowed me to share this video about this website and essentially just put the information out there. It's pretty interesting. I didn't know if there was something like this that could compare all the states and have this tool that can easily compare what you earn in, say, South Australia to ACT to WA and all those sorts of things. So if you want to have a look at this website, sign the letter to join the petition to change this for the New South Wales state doctors, and have a look at this ASMOF and see if it's right for you to join the union as well. So there you have it, comparing all the different states for the junior doctor's pay. I only went through 2 in this video. Definitely check it out yourself to look through all the other ones that are specific to your position or just positions that you're interested in. And I'll link one of my payslip videos if you wanted to check out one of those. The more information you know about all this stuff in regards to your financial health as a doctor is super important, and I think just gives you a lot more information and you make more well-informed decisions when you have all that sort of stuff already on the table. So check it out, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time.